Is it rigged if the number one pick went to New Orleans?
Yes.
It's still rigged because you want them small markets.
They don't.
They're the smallest market.
They don't want a
them to
superstarless
stay.
team.
Yeah,
and they're losing AD.
Imagine if they didn't have AD. What happens to New Orleans in the next 3 to 4 years without
with
a superstar?
Zion? If they
I'm saying without a superstar. That franchise either is still tanking or they're looking to move to Seattle.
Then
Check.
But that's a risk that they're going to take. They got one superstar in hand. They're about to get a potential another superstar, which probably makes it easier for them to trade Anthony Davis now.
Yeah.
So they're going to take their shot.
Man, here's a question. Do you not go to Anthony Davis one last time?
You can go to him as many times as you want.
With the flowers and everything. Look what we just got you.
Doesn't matter.
Wait, he's looking at what did you just get me? You got me a guy who's coming out of college. I'm an all-star. I'm one of the best players in the NBA.
One of the most touted players to come out of the draft since LeBron James.
I want an NCAA tournament.
That's cool.
Okay.
Like I said, I like Zion. I really do.
I'm just saying. Everybody else
y'all
wants. Why not?
Great. I'm telling you, I'm great.
We still have a good point guard too. So I think I don't know. Maybe I try to pitch him one more time before I shoot.
You can try. I don't think it'll work.
You pitch a man and quit.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome back into the Drop Step Podcast, a special edition as the draft lottery goes down May 14th in Chicago. And some surprises, some yells, some screams, some tears all go down. Home team here. B-Dog is here. I'm sure he's a little bit happy as his Lakers snuck in and did some things in Houston as well.
Boo.
I'm a big boo. First and foremost, it doesn't happen. Zion Williamson does not come to the Hawks. A lot of Hawks fans and Hawks Nation a little bit upset. Hopefully we'll get through it. I think we should. The silver lining, you got 2 top 10 picks, and you have a GM who has not messed up any one of his picks yet. He's been able to get you some really good talent with John Collins, with Kevin Huerter, with Trae Young, and now he's got 2 top 10 picks. Does he use both of those picks? Does he trade them and move up? Does he trade them and move back? A whole lot to get to, but y'all's thoughts on the lottery, how it unfolded, and the surprise that Zion Williamson will be, more than likely, he better be, a New Orleans Pelican.
Look, yes. Am I happy that the Lakers crept into the top 4 when they had like a 2% chance of doing so? Yes, I'm happy. But I will say, being a resident of Atlanta, living here my whole life, it is a shame to see the Hawks get the 8th and the 10th pick. That doesn't sit well with me. I do feel the pain of the city because it just feels like it's the most Atlanta thing to happen again to Atlanta. I'm wondering when the clouds would depart and the sun will shine on Atlanta ever. You got to the Super Bowl with the Falcons. You lose a 28-3 lead. That's the most Atlanta thing to happen. You have an opportunity to land the number 1 pick. Though that's the best scenario. You basically get the worst scenario now. You get the other. It's always the other end of the spectrum for the city of Atlanta. I feel some type of way about it because, like I said, I live here. But I can't say that I'm completely mad because my team is in the top 4.
How did y'all do it?
We're there.
How did y'all do it?
What you mean, how do we do it?
You got to have somebody.
You better ask them ping pong balls. I don't know.
There's no way that the Lakers just snuck into the 4th.
It's rigged. They see that this LeBron thing's not working out. The Lakers have been out of the playoffs for 6 years.
They threw your boy a bone.
They know they have to make a trade to get the Pelicans to come up off Anthony Davis. So now they can throw in the number 4 pick to get Anthony Davis to get away from New Orleans. And New Orleans really could be the big winner in all of this. Get rid of Anthony Davis, a guy that they're paying and he doesn't want to be there. Get Zion Williamson. Get a bunch of players from whatever team is going to trade to get Anthony Davis, plus maybe a higher draft pick to go along with it. Pelicans could turn things around quickly.
And also, not to mention, now that you have the Zion Williams trade or the Zion Williams draft pick, and you giving up Anthony Davis, get those pieces. What about free agents that might now think, maybe I want to go there now? That hasn't been a big talk about as far as free agents wanting to go to New Orleans. because of the whole Anthony Davis thing. But
Zion
now
Williamson don't even want to go to New Orleans.
Yeah, see, and that's another thing. They've had Chris Paul. He wanted to leave. They've had Anthony Davis. He wanted to leave. Who's to say that Zion Williamson doesn't want to leave? Who say he wants to go in the first place?
4 and go.
Obviously,
Four
he
and
didn't
go.
want to go. He was sitting there patting on that Atlanta logo pretty nice, like he was really dreaming about being down here.
Well,
So,
Trae Young's got work to do. Trae Young needs to go to every camp that Zion Williamson is hosting. He needs to have him over in the offseason, maybe figure out what kind of clubs or parties he likes to go to, become buddy-buddy with this man. So when his rookie deal is up and he has some leverage on where he can go, the Hawks be up and running, and Zion can come on to the A where the Hawks will be a 4 or 5 time playoff team by then and be looking for the extra piece to get to the title.
Well, before Trae does his work, Travis Schlenk has some work to do now,
you're right
because
about
his job has become a little bit more difficult because of where these 2 draft picks are. But like you said, there's a level of trust that you have in Travis Schlenk based off his track record, and him being able to scout out talent and kind of weed through the fool's gold and find what's the best fit for this team that can take this team to the next level and this franchise to the next level. So it's still in Travis Schlenk we trust. It still is. It's hard right now for the city on the morning after, but it's still in Travis Schlenk we trust.
You know, I woke up this morning feeling a whole lot better than I did last night before I went to bed. I actually prayed on it a little bit. And after looking at some things on ESPN and just listening to some stuff, I and especially you, B-Dog, you've been trying to convince me of this for a while now. Cam Reddish is actually a pretty good fit.
Now, you're saying that because of where you landed, or would you have felt that way, period?
Look, I wasn't feeling that way, period, because I thought we were going to get a higher draft pick.
Okay.
But since we did land where we are, I'm kind of hoping that now I'm just hoping that he kind of falls to us at 8.
I'm feeling good because I was like you. I brought in champagne to celebrate when the Hawks got closer to, the number 5 or the number 1, and it didn't happen. So I ended up sharing a little of my libations, and then I drank by myself because I was hurt. I was really excited like everybody else in the city. So I had to drown some of it in liquid. Now that I've recovered from that, I would say the Hawks have a really good chance to still be pretty good. You still have 2 picks, and who's to say, in theory, you don't end up with a Cam Reddish and a Jackson Hayes. And you don't have to move up to do anything. They fall right into your lap. They're young players that would fit in the Lloyd Pearson system, I believe. And you end up still winning the trade for Luka and Trae Young and the draft picks you got, or the draft pick you got from Dallas.
That would end up giving you what, the youngest starting 5 in the league, because you would have all 5 of your starters under 4 years. So Collins being the
old
senior
man.
of it,
He'd be in his third
year. Like, come on now, nobody's over the age of 22,
21, 22.
Yeah, like that, to me right there, I'm good with that all day. It gives you a rim protector in Jackson. I don't need everybody to shoot threes. He could be down there and clog up the defensive hole all day. As long as he's doing that, and then everybody else can stretch the floor out, you still have Collins to even be able to balance off of him, because Collins is going to get bigger this offseason. I've already been hearing he's been working out, so that's going to be a great thing. I like to see where they'll go with this. Trae, he's going to have all types of weapons at his disposal, so it's going to be awesome.
I think now that I think that is the best situation that you have, is to have Jackson and then to have, like I said, one of the Duke guys there. That's your best situation now based off where you're landing, and that's what you're hoping that you end up with, because I think that's the silver lining amongst all of this. I think both of those guys would fit well here because now it gives you, Herter can shoot the ball. Trae is getting better shooting the ball. You have one of these other shooters come in. Like I said, in this league and where it's going and where it is, you can't have too much shooting. You can't have too many guys spread the floor. If you have a lot of guys that spread the floor, you got a good thing going on. Right. So I think that's what you're looking forward to. And like I said, I think Travis Schlenk will do his due diligence. You got some time between now and June 20th to do your homework, to go, do your scouting, have these guys in, work them out, look at how they react to certain things, look at what their motors look like, and then you have time to make your decision. So, you got to have – this is what you pay your GM for. Sometimes it's easy. Like the Pelicans have an easy decision.
Yeah.
So, at that top, most of these top 5 teams have easy decisions because it's the best available player. But when you get outside of that top 5, it's not always the best available player. Sometimes it's about what fits better with what I'm trying to do.
Right.
So now the Hawks have to look at, okay, what are we trying to do and what players fit better for what we're trying to do now and into the future. So, Travis Schlenk, do your thing.
Zion Williamson, obviously going to be the talk of the town. Certainly he'll sign a big shoe contract. He'll have some endorsement deals going in. When his name is called number 1, he'll be up there with Adam Silver, and his era in the NBA will begin. Wonder where he is, though. He said he still felt a little nervous with all eyes on him. Just seems to be very likable and somebody that even if you aren't a Pelican fan or a basketball fan, you would pay a few bucks go down to an arena and watch him play. I know I'm making sure I go see the Pelicans when they come to see the Hawks this year, and I'm sure a lot of other people will too. So he's already going to be a magnet and something that people are going to be looking forward to see. And he will give a little shot in the arm to New Orleans because I'm sure they'll be on many more nationally televised games this year than they would have been with Anthony Davis going out and maybe not a star coming in.
2,000 season tickets or season ticket packets sold, I think, after.
Wow.
They realized that they got the number 1 pick. That sells itself. Like, could you imagine if the Hawks would have landed the number 1 pick?
Oh, yeah.
Forget 2,000.
It's sold out.
You'd have had double that.
It's sold out.
Yeah.
Like, I got friends who work in marketing and ticketing at State Farm, and they were preparing themselves. They said, look, when we get the number 1 pick, they said it's on because we're going to have calls after calls after calls after calls, and we're preparing ourselves for it.
I've been getting calls from the Hawks for the past few weeks like, yo, go ahead and get on that season ticket route now because once that draft pick comes,
that price price
is going up. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to hold out a little bit. I'm kind of glad I did now because now I get a little bit of time to play with it.
And it's still going up, but it's going up gradually.
Exactly. They still have to take that little small incline. They can't just skyrocket with a Zion Williamson no more.
Did the specter of tanking get solved? Will tanking be forever stopped, or was tanking a big part of what happened last night? Because Adam Silver wants tanking to stop, but you had tankers who won and tankers who lost. You have the Pelicans who sat down and shut down Anthony Davis, so they didn't win games, and they end up getting the number 1 pick. You had LeBron James shut down by the Lakers, who won 37 games and will have the 4th pick. But then you have a 17-win team like the Knicks, who are picking 3rd. And you have 2 teams in Cleveland and in Phoenix who didn't win 20 games, and they aren't even in the top 4.
I think it makes a lot of these teams think twice. I think what it does, it helps out. It helps out that 30-win team that's around that area that's not a really, really bad team, but they're not a good enough team to make the playoffs, like the Lakers were. And it hurts the team who is winning 20 or less games, hoping that they'll have a bigger shot of getting that number 1 pick. So it takes from one and gives to another.
I think it plays it out longer. So, like, you can't necessarily go into the beginning of the season now thinking tank. There's no point in thinking about tanking at the beginning of the season. You play for what you got. But now, as the season weighs on, I think you'll still start to see teams once it gets towards the end, and they'll see. I think it's really going to boil down to what are the draft prospects coming out. Because once mid-season comes and you see who's actually going to be possibly coming out to the draft, then you'll have those teams like, all right, we're not really doing nothing. There's nothing in the middle of the draft at this point. Let's go ahead and just bottom out and see if hopefully we can get out. You still might see it, but it's not going to be as deliberate as like the Mavs. You know, you got owners sitting there actually telling you it's probably best if we just lose games. You're not going to get that as much anymore.
Or the Cavaliers over the last 5 years.
Right.
You know, they had the opportunity to pick 3 times.
Or the Knicks themselves,
Right. Exactly. So you're going to have to – it's more of a risk. If you're going to tank, it's much more of a risk now. You're taking more of a gamble and hoping and praying that your tanking pays off. It did not work for certain teams this year.
Like I said, I just think you just won't make that decision before the season starts.
And I would say for the Hawks, it did work. You ended up getting 2 top 10 picks for trading after you tanked the year before. So the rules were a little bit different last year.
We benefited from being, last of the Mohicans, if you want to think about it.
Right.
Like we benefited from that, and then now they made the change. You're not going to get that opportunity again. So thank you, Travis Schlenk, for what you did in that time period. Maybe you saw the writing on the wall, so you went ahead and got it done early. Because this past season, we were talking tank all this season, but really it wasn't a tank for the Hawks.
No.
They were playing good ball.
Yeah.
But he knew exactly where they would possibly fall, and he knew who that trade partner where they would possibly fall to. So it just played out perfectly.
It's kind of like and kind of comparing this to, the NFL draft. It's kind of like the rookie wage scale. Like you would see, like the number 1 overall pick, like when Sam Bradford came out, he would get $50 million guaranteed. He was one of the last people to get that big money guaranteed. But when they implemented that in the collective bargaining agreement, ain't no guy getting $50 million guaranteed. So he was the last of that core group that got that big money up front before they even ever touched the field. So I kind of look at this the same way I kind of look at that NFL wage scale, where, like you said, the Hawks are kind of like the last of the Mohicans, where, hey, we're the last to be able to do this.
And do it successfully.
It ain't going to work out for everybody else after us.
And now looking at after the dust settles, who are the winners and losers? If you had to pick 3 winners and 3 losers, I would say clearly the Pelicans, because they're going to get Zion Williamson. The Lakers, who missed the playoffs and end up in a top 4 situation, they can pick somebody to help, maybe start to begin the process of getting somebody in, preparing for life after LeBron James, or somebody with LeBron James, or somebody to trade to help get somebody else for LeBron James. I think they're a winner. And I think also a winner, the Grizzlies. They tanked too. They traded Marc Gasol in the middle of the season, lost a bunch of games. Now they'll be the number 2 pick in the draft.
I'm going to tell you who I think is also a winner in a sense, but obviously their fan base doesn't think so at all. The Knicks. I'm going to tell you why.
Oh, boy, I want to hear this.
Yeah.
But I think they're only a winner, and this kind of takes away from what my Lakers would do, but it's only a winner if it works out like this. Let's just say at number 3, RJ is there and they take him, which is what people are projecting them to do. If you have RJ, I don't know, you have that Mavericks pick from the Kristaps Porzingis trade. I don't know what that pick is going to look like. I don't know what New Orleans is going to bite on if you call New Orleans and say, okay, we have RJ, we have this other pick, and maybe another player. If New Orleans really wants to pair RJ back with Zion, and they say, okay, this is intriguing to us, and they decide to really come to the table and talk about this, and they can get that done, then that's a win, because you'll be getting Anthony Davis back, possibly. Right. Now, here's where they lose even more than what they already have. Let's say Memphis say, you know what? We don't want Ja Morant. We want RJ. Then I think the Knicks completely lose, because you can't. I don't know if you can go to the Pelicans and say, hey, we have Ja Morant. Well, the Pelicans might not want Ja Morant.
Right.
So I think in a way they've won more than what the reaction showed in New York, but I think they'll become more winners if things work out in the draft the way that they're supposed to.
They still have they still
got some more stuff to deal with.
There's still something to see. There's still some stuff to see there. But yeah, y'all said winners, my winner. Honestly, I'm just going to stick with the home team. Like, I like what the Hawks have right now. Yeah. I like our position. I think we've been winners really since we got Schlenk, and it hasn't stopped. It's not going to grow and be, championship, the very next year. It's a growing process, but he's put us on that treadmill, and he's been cranking up the speed a little bit here lately. So I think for us, having those 2 picks in the first round and still being able to have 3 more picks in the second to toy with and do what we want to, playing with house money still.
Now, even though, yes, I agree with you, do you think that it's only really a win if the 2 players that you're wanting are still there? Because what if, let's say one of those guys is not there anymore. Let's say Jackson Hayes is no longer there.
That's the one. No, that's the one. If he's not there, then I'm probably looking a little bit more salty.
What if there's one player that you really want? What if you want DeAndre Hunter? And you have to take one of those picks to move up to make sure he's not off the board. Would we have a problem with that?
I wouldn't have a problem with that either.
Playing the game of value and moving back, you never know you're going to get. But if there is a player, they want Jarrett Culver. If they want there's a player that the Hawks want, Travis Schlenk says, this is the guy we were going to get anyway had it fallen that way. If they take that pick to get him, I don't have a problem with that either.
Okay, I could see that happening too. And I wouldn't mind, if we could somehow package – maybe the 10th pick with maybe a player or 2 and move up, to like number 3.
Maybe a Taurean Prince or
yeah.
Kent Bazemore. Maybe
I would think Taurean Prince because
right.
I think there's a little bit more left in his ceiling.
And the cap isn't.
Yeah, exactly.
He's on his rookie deal.
You're right,
exactly.
right.
He's still on his rookie deal. So, yeah, you're still going to get a lot more out of Taurean. So, if you could package something like that up, then, yeah, I'd like to see that move. But otherwise, right now, my feet been kicked up. I like to see how this plays out.
Yeah.
The losers, 3 losers I have, the New York Knicks.
Okay.
They've been dying for a superstar. It was right there. They won 17 games. They were the worst team in all of basketball. They lost 65, only to end up number 3. Good luck with that, New York City. That's number 1. Number 2, I think the Cleveland Cavaliers. They thought they were cute, and they were going to end up, after already trying to get a number 1 again, had Anthony Bennett, had Kyrie Irving, had LeBron James. Enough of them. They've had their shot up at number 1 and being really bad and benefiting from it. And I also think number 3, I think Chicago missed out. I think they're hawkish in that if you look at their team, they are a bunch of young guys. They play really well. They play hard. They have Zach LaVine, but they need that one star. They need the head of the snake. And had they been able to get up there, get Zion Williamson, throw that in to a basketball city, a championship organization, I think they really missed out on an excellent opportunity to kind of re-galvanize and re-energize the franchise.
And they're going to be hurting because you're going to always, not saying there'll ever be a guy like Michael Jordan to come about, but they're always going to have that shadow of Michael Jordan. Literally got a statue outside the United Center, but they're literally going to always have that shadow of Michael Jordan hovering over them. And plus the last star that was there, Derrick Rose, they're looking for somebody to come in to just kind of revitalize Chicago and kind of bring basketball back to Chicago. So I agree. I do agree about Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago would be a good loser. I have to say Phoenix. They've been on this tankathon for the past few years, it seems, too. And, I mean, they've gotten some good pieces, and we'll still see how DeAndre Ayton develops over the next few years. And Booker is, to me, he's potentially going to be an all-star in the next few years, hopefully, depending on how free agency and all these, how it shakes out in the league over the next few years. He's a baller, though. So, to me, they're a loser because, you coming up at 6, what are you really going to do now? I don't see who you're picking up at this point that's going to help you still move in the direction that you were supposed to be moving in. And now, and like I said, with how the lottery is shaking out now, this tanking ain't going to work anymore. So now you really got to figure it out.
I agree. And I think it's a situation where no matter where you pick, you got to pick right. There have been number 1 picks that have been busts, number 2 picks that have been Hall of Famers, number 15 and 19 picks that have changed franchises forever. So wherever you are, you have to pick right. And so everybody has the same opportunity. Everybody has money for scouts. Everybody has time to go see college players and players overseas. Everybody has to pick right. So really nobody can bellyache and whine and complain. If you weren't bad, you wouldn't be up here in the front of the line anyway. So you're bad for a reason. Dig your way out of it and find a way to get to a better place for the NBA, for your franchise, and for your fan base is what I say. And that'll do it for an abbreviated version of the Drop Step podcast.
Draft special, baby.
Hey.
Shout out to all of you who have listened. Say thanks again to the fine folks at Shaq Fu Radio, who are also part of the team. We thank them for their support and their partnership. And we will see you all next week, getting ready for some more NBA playoff talk. More to come here on the Drop Step podcast.
Peace out.
Already.